And
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel, getting you on the grind and improving your mind every single live stream that we do. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Leave a comment below, or you can talk to us in the live chat if you're just coming in. So, let's talk about today's topic, which is why you need to take control of your health now. And to illustrate our message in a much more easier way and a much more important way, we're going to have Patrick Bet David from Valuetainment uh going into a video he has to further illustrate our point. So let's get right into it, not waste anyone's time, and let's go.
yeah, so we have the video link in the description as well, so you can watch it there whenever you feel like it, just so you have all the information. But we're gonna watch it now together, so let's go and watch it.
If you're watching this video, you probably know somebody that filed a bankruptcy because of medical bills, which, by the way, out of all the bankruptcies done in America, 66.5% of all the bankruptcies are due to medical bills, according to American Journal of Public Health. That's a lot of bankruptcies. And by the way, out of those people that filed bankruptcies, 72% of the time they had health insurance. So wait a minute, you have health insurance. How did you file bankruptcy? How do these guys make money? What is this health insurance business? Why do so few people trust it? How do hospitals make money? How much do they charge? What is their profit margin? Who's being held accountable? Are health insurance companies making the money and saying, good for you, I already got my money. Your problem is the government not collecting money. Is the hospital not getting the money for anybody? But who's paying for all this stuff? And at the same time, all the politicians don't want to talk about Medicare, Medicaid, let alone Social Security, because God forbid if they say the right thing to do is we kind of got to get away with this stuff. They're not going to get reelected. So they want to keep getting reelected. So they keep saying, you cannot do this. It's not fair. But guess what? At whose cost? At whose expense? At Gen Z's? At Millennial? At Gen X? So these guys are probably never going to get any of this stuff, but they finance it for them. Why is that fair? These are a lot of great questions. We're going to talk about that today. All right, so if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But let's get right into it. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket and you don't have any money? You're broke. I remember when this would happen to me. You don't know how you're going to pay for the speeding ticket. And many times I didn't pay for it and I had to pay for it 6 months later. And I would get pulled over and the cop would say, get out of the car. You have 6 tickets you haven't paid for. I've been through this before. Now, let me fast forward when you're 32 years old, 48 years old, 57 years old. You take your kid to the hospital. You're about to go to the hospital. And you know a bill is coming your way. You just don't know how much it's going to be. Do you? Do they tell you this is how much the bill's going to be?
Real quick. So, definitely shout out to him. Very smart guy. So,
Very smart.
how do you end up in the hospital in the first place? Well, how do you end up with there are
There
certain
are
things
multiple
that you
reasons,
cannot
man.
control. Nature, getting sick, cancer,
Getting injured.
right? But there are many things that are not talked about that you can control. Especially a lot of research that is coming out today is further signifying that if you take control of your health and your stress levels and your nutrition and your exercise and the way you live your life and a healthy lifestyle in general, especially men with their testosterone levels, you can keep yourself away from the hospital and the doctors, which is what America does not want you to do. And the world does not want you to do. Well, some places have free healthcare. I guess is a little different. I'm only going to talk about America, but these companies in the hospital, of course, they want you to come in and get treatment. Of course they do. Now, this is not talking about cancer. This is not talking about things you cannot control. There are certain bacteria, things in nature, sicknesses that you need medical attention for. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is the things you can control. So anybody trying to freak out in the comments, calm down. We're talking about the things you have control of. And a lot of people don't realize that their nutrition is the number one thing. Well, nutrition, sleep, exercise. But I'm talking about nutrition is the main thing that can keep you out of the hospital, because America is fat right now. This is no joke. It is not a lie. It is obvious truth. Go to your local grocery store and look around for 5 minutes, and you're going to realize that most people have a gut hanging out. That's not natural. We're not meant to have dad bods. We're not meant to be fat as shit. The reason this is happening is because we've gotten complacent. We're sedating ourselves. We're not exercising enough. And most importantly, we are processing our food in a very dangerous way that our gut and our bodies have not evolved to handle. And when all of this stuff comes crashing down, it's going to affect you and it's going to hurt your bank account. So let's keep going.
Nobody tells you that. And that's what they call a surprise medical bill. And you're sitting there saying, man, I have no idea what it's going to be. Here's a number for you. 41% of insured adults have surprise medical bills, and 2/3 of them are worried about being able to afford that surprise medical bill. You've been there. I've been there before. How many people are going through this? Well, where's the profit margins in this? How are people paying for these? Let me give you some more statistics here. 78% of adults have avoided hospital visits, 44% medical care due to the cost. Have you ever know you're sick You know something's wrong with you. You know you don't know what's going on with your chest pains, your back, pain here. You do not want to go because you don't want that bill. You don't know if you can afford it. But many times you have health insurance and you're still not going. So why do we have health insurance?
So he's talking about how, you don't know what's going on and you want to get some treatment. Now, a lot of the times people don't realize that the reason they're feeling bad in the first place is not from a natural cause, is because of you. You do it to yourself. And you don't even realize that you're doing it to yourself because a lot of people and society has told you that, oh, it's something you can't control. Things just happen. But a lot of things you can control. And the biggest factor is what you eat. So people don't realize that the more crappy foods and processed foods you eat, it's going to damage your body and it's going to send you into spirals of heart attacks and strokes. There's so many different things that lead from the causes of eating bad food over an extended period of time. And the older you get, the worse it gets for your body, and it's harder for you to process these foods. And that's why older people are more susceptible to getting fat and getting diseases, because the body is not as young and cannot fight off from the bad food as it used to, and it's getting harder to handle. And the companies, the hospitals and doctors, I mean, all these institutions, they take advantage of you being unhealthy and being fat, and they prescribe you medication, and it's harder for you to walk, and you have to pay for all these bills. And then you get surprise medical bills. You come in and you're like, oh my God, I can't pay this. But a lot of people don't realize you can prevent this by simply changing your daily habits.
Yeah. And like, I'm going to reiterate what you were saying before, where, you're going to fall and break your leg, and you have to go to the hospital. That's almost something you can't control. Like, you could have controlled maybe how you fell or what happened to you to prevent you from breaking your leg, but you broke your leg. So there's nothing you could do. You have to go to the hospital. Right. But if you, instead of picking up the bag of Doritos or, baking a cake and all these other things, instead of you doing those actions, you should be instead making meals from healthy foods like grass-fed, grass-finished steaks or meats or beef, pasture-raised eggs or pasture-raised chicken, wild-caught salmon, things like that. If you ate properly, and especially if you had your family eating properly as well, then you help so many other people, and you'll prevent the amount of visits that you need to go to the hospital. Of course, you're gonna have to go to the hospital for accidents. You got into a car accident. You hit your head really bad on the windshield or like on the window, and you might have a concussion. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Like, there's nothing really, there's nothing that you at least could have done like way beforehand to prevent that. But the things that you can do way beforehand to prevent having to go to a hospital is with nutrition, which is what Andrew said. But let's continue and see what else we have to talk about. Also, insurance. Actually, he's going to explain it. Let's just listen.
Insurance. Why are we paying for it if we do have it? Do you know how many people are asking these questions? So let's continue. 30% said they have to choose between paying for medical bills or basic necessities like food or housing, meaning you have a choice to go to the doctor and pay for that bill versus, man, I got to get some food for the kids and paying for my rent. You know which one I'm going to choose? I'll tolerate the pain. I'm going this way. Have you done that before? Maybe you haven't, but your parents may have done this before. And this continues. 137 million people in U.S. reported struggling with medical bills. Let me say the number again to you.
Goes back to the agenda, right? Make you fat, make you weak, make you unable to pay your bills, and then you resort to other methods, maybe trying to pay off debt, maybe something like that, maybe going into certain programs that require you to be more of a slave to the system, which is working, by the way. Many people are slaves, and in fact, they do not know it. Any other thoughts before we continue?
Yeah, well, yeah, because like what you were saying with the programs, like food stamps and stuff like that. Like, I know some people might be a little bit unfortunate, and they might not be able to make as much money as they probably should, but that probably is a whole bunch of other reasons behind that for those people's choices and stuff. But like, let's say, as an example, let's say this person, they weren't making a lot of money, but they were getting by, but now they have to pay a medical bill, and so now they have to sign up for food stamps, and they the government gives them money to then buy food, and they pretty much become this slave to the system that is put in front of them, and they didn't even realize that this was a whole big it's all connected. Food stamps, all these government programs, and the hospitals, the insurance companies, all these things are all interconnected. They want you to go in and have to eat badly, eat poorly, right? Then you go to the hospital because something is wrong. Once you do that and get treatment, then you get a bill. This bill is way too expensive for you to pay for, even with insurance. So then you have to get government help for them to then give you money. So then you have to pay them back too. And on top of that, you're only allowed to really eat things that aren't healthy for you. A lot of the stuff, and I've seen it before on when I see people like trying to buy stuff with food stamps. A lot of things that they have to
Yeah, you
get,
get Doritos.
yeah, they and especially because they only get a certain amount of money and they have to feed whoever they have to feed. And so they're pretty much forced. Their hand is pretty much forced to only buy things that are not good for you. And so the cycle will continue. They can't get themselves out because not only are they not making enough money to get to be able to pay off their debts, but now with the help of the government is pretty much forcing their hand into buying and eating foods that aren't going to be good for them instead of eating foods that are. So it's just a whole big mess. But let's continue on.
137 million people. Here's another one for you. You ever gone to the hospital and you're like, oh, you got to stay for 3 nights? You're like, no, I'm good. Listen, man, your leg is broken. You got to stay here for, no. I'll go walk on a crutch. Do you want to, no, leave it alone because I know everything is an add-on and a cost. But do you know how much it costs to stay at a hospital? Do you actually know the numbers? You want to learn about it? If you don't want to learn about it, skip this part and go watch something else because I'm going to show you how much these things cost. Look, life is pretty complicated sometimes. Sometimes you're dealing with something with divorce. You're going through something. You lost a loved one. You're about to get fired. You don't know what's going on. Data came out saying 1 in 4 Americans don't have anybody to confide in. This is why today's sponsor, BetterHelp, is here to help you. And this
BetterHelp.
is what,
Yes, BetterHelp is great.
Yeah, definitely.
Therapy stuff.
You guys, if you need therapy, either go to therapy or you can come to us and we can do a live stream together and we can get to the bottom of your problems. We can help.
We can help you.
We can be your friend.
Yes.
Guys, we do friendships on this channel.
Yes, we are friends with a lot of the people that we have talked to on this channel.
People can confirm in real life that we are awesome people to be around.
We are genuinely
and
awesome.
I'm actually kind of funny sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Mike can confirm that.
Yes. Anyway, I'm going to just skip the ad because it's not really important for us.
your first month, or you can click on a link below in description to go to betterhelp.com/valuetainment.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Nationally, U.S. hospitals charge $417 for every $100 of their costs, which means their net cost is $100. They're going to charge you $417. The 100 most expensive U.S. hospitals charge, ready, between $1,129 to $1,808 per $100 of their cost. $1,808 is 1,800% of their cost. And you know what their answer is? Because they can. So you may say, Pat, give it a break. What's been the history with this? Let me show you. It's been in 1999. It was only 200% per $100, but it's gone up every single year, all the way up to the data we have here. It's 417% as of 2018. And after COVID, those numbers went even higher. This next chart is also a little bit concerning because, we did a couple videos in the past, one of them being like, you want to be able to have more regional banks. Why? There's more competition, right? You want to have more community banks because it's more competition. And right now, a lot of these signature banks, a lot of these banks that are going out of business and the bigger banks are picking it up. Gradually, we're going from having a lot of different options to having a few different options. And what happens when we have a few different options, they get to dictate the price or whatever they want to do. The same thing's happening with weapons of mass destruction, where you're hearing a lot of these big companies that would make weapons. They make planes, they make tanks. It used to be so many of them. It's now gone down to only a handful of them. So they have the market, they have control, and they're kind of working together to dictate what everybody else has to pay for. Watch this. When you look at this chart from 94 to 2018, in 1994, only 37% of the hospitals in America belong to a system, meaning a controlled, consolidated, multi-hospital system, 37%. So the other 63% was independently owned by a lot of different people. So the 37% couldn't push their weight around because they had a lot of other people that were competition. Well, today, that 37% is now 67%, which is collectively being done by a few different people. So they dictate whatever the terms are for the price of these hospitals.
Yeah, because
You
that's
guys
like
You guys all
Meridian.
falling for this.
Yeah, that's like companies like Meridian and I think Bayshore was its own, but then I think Meridian bought them, or they were the same company. I don't know. There's because I'm trying to think of like hospitals and things that are around us.
Yeah.
A lot of those hospitals, they're all owned by the same they're all owned by the same people. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
like the one that's like 5 minutes down the road over here is owned by the same people of like the same hospital that where we
Right.
used to live, back home, and they're all interconnected. They have no real competition. Really, they really don't.
You guys have to realize that there are people in suits that make a lot of money sitting in meetings at hospitals that are deciding what they can do with the money that you're paying because you're so fat and unhealthy and you can't take care of yourself and you rely on them depending on these companies relying on you, which is not good. So you guys need to start taking control of the way you live your life daily and improve your eating habits now, right now, after you watch this video, in order to stop the corruption and these people taking so much money from you that you don't need. A lot of you guys can save, not all of you, but you can save a good percentage of people's money by people simply living healthier lifestyles. So
Exactly. Let's keep rolling.
Hospitals. That's why they can increase the rates, because they control the market. So I want to give you an example of some of these hospitals on what they're charging per $100. Here's what you will look at. Number one would be Capital Health, which is based out of New Jersey, $1,440.
That's us. So this is now showing us what
Now it's
what
personal.
Now this has become personal. Now
we
I
must
know
fight.
not to go to the hospital.
I wouldn't go anyway because I'm too lazy. I'm self-healing at home.
3%. Number two is CarePoint Health, which is in Florida and Jersey, 1,313%. Third one is Regional Medical Center, which is 1,106% out of Florida. Fourth one is American Academic Health System, 1,064% out of Pennsylvania. Then you got Temple University, 1,000% out of Pennsylvania again. Then you got HCA out of Florida. Then you got Tenet Healthcare Corporation out of Texas. Then you got Community Health Systems, which is national. Then you got Universal Health Services, which is national. You got St. Luke's out of Pennsylvania. 3 out of the top 10 was Pennsylvania, and 3 out of the top 10 was Florida. Now, you may ask, why Pennsylvania and Florida in the top 10? Because Florida is in the top 5 oldest states in America, population-wise, and Pennsylvania is the top 8 oldest state, population-wise, in America. So they have older people that are like, listen, guys, we got a lot of boomers here. Charge it up, mark it up a little bit. We'll make some money here. Because, again, they can. Now, some of you may be watching and saying, Pat, if I can't pay the bill, I can't pay the bill. I just don't pay the bill. That's what I do. Well, there's many ways they can get the money from you. One of them being wage garnishment. They can, in many cases, up to 25%, they can just take the money out of your account if they really wanted to. These people can file for it, and that can happen. Now, obviously, some states are more strict than others, but there is another part to this on a hospital being interviewed on why these prices are going higher. What is the regulation? Who's controlling them? And this was done by Dr. Marty McCary, and here's what he came up with in a book he wrote titled The Price We Pay. Researchers from the University of Iowa called 101 U.S. hospitals on prices from the same type of heart bypass operations. Only 53 provided. The price varied from $44,000 to $448,000. So 101 hospitals, 53 gave the rate from $44,000 to $448,000. My dad has had a bypass. What's the difference? One is 44, one is 440. That's 10 times more. Who dictates the terms? Do I just pick and choose and say, yeah, I think you look like a $300,000 type of person. No, I think you're 80. Let's see you for 220. Who determines what these prices are? Is it a secret? Can we know? Can you imagine you go buy a car? You say, I'd like to buy that Mustang. What's the price? Can't tell you until you buy it. What's the price of the car? Nope. You want to buy it? Yes. $78,000. It's really $22,000. Imagine how weird that is. That's how hospitals work. He continues. Hospital officials confessed that they inflate bills each year in order to generate more revenue. Since the insurance companies pay only part of the sticker prices, insurance confessed they demand bigger and bigger discounts in their contracts with hospitals in order to keep up.
Right? Lesson from the bullshit Corona that we did not listen to, but all you guys did. We were the only ones out there running while you guys jerked off, watched porn, hated your wives, and went to bed,
and ate a bunch
locked
of
in your
food.
house, ate a bunch of food, got fat, gained weight, whatever. Hospitals were getting money if they said more people had corona, which of course inflated the numbers, made people more scared. Except us. We were the only ones, and I can go back to the beginning. I was against it from the start, but they had these hospitals. These nurses. These nurses were dancing. They were fucking in the hospitals. I'm telling you, these doctors and nurses, while you're complaining and you're scared, they're stressed out from work, yeah, but they're also fucking behind the curtains. So there's some game for you guys. Whatever. Anyway, so let's keep going.
admitted that they pass on higher bills to the public in the form of higher insurance premiums. And last but not least, watch what this lady said at the end, just flat out. A hospital employee whom Dr. Marty McCary confronted on behalf of a patient who received an exorbitant hospital bill provides the answer. The law allows us to charge whatever we want. If we want to charge $1 million, she has to pay for it.
I guess I'll
Can
die.
you imagine?
Guess I'll die.
I guess I'll die.
Fuck it.
Shit.
I'm not
Yeah.
going down this route.
Can't be me.
Guys, once again, try your best. If you break your leg, you have to get surgery. Fine, I understand. Something you get into an accident, forklift, whatever happens out there. But do your best to stay away from hospitals. Do your best to stay healthy. Meditation is a good way to calm stress. Getting 8 hours of sleep really helps if you can. Trying to naturally live a healthy lifestyle. Get unprocessed foods. Grass-fed, grass-finished meats, pasture-raised eggs. Make sure you're getting your antioxidants in. Get your vitamins. Get A, B, C, D, E, F, G, what the fuck ever vitamin it is. Make sure you're getting healthy fats. You're getting your protein in. Try to stay away from all these marketed foods that contain sugar in them. You want to do everything in your power to save money, especially if you have a family. The best thing you could do is to not only make you healthy, make your family healthy as well. That way you can avoid at least try, at least give it a shot, at least save some money on potential future medical bills that you don't have to go through because you were smart enough to get you and your family healthy. And in return, you feel healthier, you look healthier, and one day you will not have a stroke or something due to dietary reasons, and then you'll have to go to the hospitals. Hopefully, you can avoid all that. Also, wear protection when you're having sex, so that way you can avoid STD treatment.
Yes, exactly. Another thing I want to add to that is probably the best thing to do, and I don't know how many people do it or not. And I need to go back and do it more. I need to do it again and start doing it again. Is making sure that you have I guess like a community doctor that you can go to that's nearby, that is under your insurance, that you can always go and do checkups and just find out like all the pretty much all like the science information, all pretty much all that data that they gather from you. Like they usually do like the height and the width, and then your blood pressure, all those types of things. Blood work. Get all that stuff done at least yearly. At the least, try to get that stuff done yearly, just so just by collecting that data, that where you stand in your health. Because I know a lot of people, they try to not go to doctors like that as much as possible. I mean, like, I feel like it's beneficial to at least go and do those, because those ones won't pay or won't cost as much as an actual hospital will. Like, if you can at least minimize the amount of money that you have to actually pay having to go somewhere, and hopefully your insurance will pay for most of it and you won't really have to pay for it at all. Go to those doctors at least once a year and get your blood work done, get a physical done, just so you can get that data collected and you can know what you need to work on, if you're still going on the right path. If oh, I might have eaten too many I might have had too many cheat meals during the year, and I'm gained a little weight, and my BMI is a little too high. I need to stop doing that this year and bring it back down and work. That's probably the best thing to do, because if you don't and you leave your health unchecked, then something's going to happen to you and you're going to have to go to a hospital, and that's not what you want. You want to be able to check on your health at least yearly, just to know where you stand and what you can improve upon, so you can prevent going to a hospital.
And guys, just also a friendly reminder to make sure you're not blowing your money and you're maxing out your credit cards constantly by being an idiot and making unnecessary purchases. Definitely a side tangent, but you want to make sure your money is always good. You always have backup money just in case, especially if you have a family. The risks are even higher of something happening. You never know. You always need to be prepared. Always think ahead. You want to, of course, enjoy the moment and spend money that you have earned, of course. What we're saying is just be careful how you spend things, and just be mindful when you're making huge purchases. And just because a lot of people, they feed on their emotional brain and they buy whatever feels good in the moment, and then they ruin they max out their credit cards, they go into debt, and things go wrong. So you have to be careful how you live this life. Just be a little smart about it. Nothing crazy, just something to be aware of.
Exactly.
that? So it's already crazy enough, but this next stat I share with you, some of you guys are going to say, I don't believe this. You're going to have to go do your own research when I show you this.
Notion has
No.
been the center.
How dare you, Patrick David, want money? How dare you? How dare you?
How could you?
How could you have done this to me? Okay. Anyway.
Number, can you tell me what are the biggest industries in America by revenue? By revenue. You ready? The number one industry in America
food.
by revenue.
I would say
And this is numbers from 2023.
Yeah,
hospitals
yeah.
in the
Well,
US
well,
is
well.
number one.
That's what I said.
$1.426 billion. Number two is drug and cosmetic and toiletry wholesaling in the US, 1.364. Then you got pharmaceutical wholesaling, then health and medical, then commercial banking, then new car dealers, then life insurance and annuities. Hospitals is number one, and no one even talks
And
about
drugs.
it. However,
And
here's the
drugs.
crazy part about hospitals. If I were to ask you how much money do these guys make, man, on 1.426, the margin's got to be massive. Like this Google, Facebook ad, it's got to be massive margins. That's the problem. Their margins are very small, but how? Matter of fact, if you look at the numbers in 2022 and early 2023, you will notice, according to Kaufman Hall Operating Margin Index, year to date by month, they're in the negative. Look at the numbers right there. Negative 2.1, negative 2.4, negative 1.9, negative. Every month has been in the negative. And even if we go prior to COVID, and maybe we go look at 1995 through 2016, it's always been in the single digits. The lowest was 2%, and the highest is roughly 8%. So how is this even possible? You got 400% to 1,800% of margins. Shouldn't you be making more money? I don't even understand how this is possible. Here's why. Because the government is heavily involved. When you look at Medicare and Medicaid in 2020, combined underpayments, not payments, but underpayments were $100 billion, up from $75.8 billion in 2019.
Yes,
and the
talk
2020 underpayment.
Yeah, guys. So we're actually going to stop playing this video here and we're just going to go off our final thoughts. If you want to watch the rest of that video, highly recommend.
Yeah, it's
you
the link
watch-
to it is
yeah,
in the
Go
description.
to Valuetainment and watch that. So, guys, these companies make money off of you. You are the consumer. You are the reason they are so powerful, and the reason that this happens because you guys, for a good percentage of it, not all of it, of course. Natural stuff happens and you need help. But a lot of it is you guys being very unhealthy. And when you guys get unhealthy, you need treatment, you need help, and then you give these companies more money than they should have had. You guys can avoid certain medical bills in your future. You can avoid a really rough few years ahead if you plan ahead and start eating healthier immediately. Start changing the way you exercise. Be careful with your joint movements in the gym. Don't do ego lifting because then you're gonna break something. So there's also that aspect. So we can go into the gym stuff, but so be careful when you lift weights and make sure you're doing things with proper form. Do watch video tutorials. So there's a reminder of that. You can save yourself possible muscle joint breaks in the future, breaking bones and straining muscles that you should not have if you watch and if you do the correct form. But make sure you guys are eating healthy. You're trying to live healthy as possible lifestyles so that you can save yourself future torment and future debt. Any other final thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely want to reiterate making sure that you eat healthy, as well as I want to also reiterate again that if you want to know where you stand on your health is the best thing to do. I mean, you can either self-medicate yourself. I mean, not self-medicate, but self diagnose yourself. You can learn all the things that a lot of people who are nurses or doctors or whatever, you can learn a lot of that stuff online, I guess, probably, and you could do it on your own, or you get a community physician and you get physicals yearly and you get blood work done yearly, just so you can get that data and you can know where you stand, and you don't have to take explicitly what they say to heart. You could just tell because if certain things with doctors is like, if your cholesterol, let's say like overall cholesterol is really high, they won't fully go into detail on what specifically is high. That's why you have to go and look at that data yourself and understand, oh, my LDL is low though, but my HDL is high. And so that's why my cholesterol overall is high, because of the HDL, which HDL is the better cholesterol, LDL is the bad cholesterol. And so if it's like that, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to listen to them saying, oh, your cholesterol's bad, blah, 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 stop doing whatever. You don't have to listen to that. You just take the data that you get from going to these physicians and getting this blood work done, and then you figure out what you need to do for yourself, and you figure it out on your own. that way, once you keep doing this, it'll prevent you having to go to the hospital unless you hurt yourself in some sort of way.
Right, guys. And a lot of you guys will ask, how do I start improving my health? And the answer is actually right here. A lot of you guys are drinking sugary drinks that are going to make you fat and unhealthy in the future. What you can do is start changing your habits immediately. Start by drinking more water instead of soda, instead of the sugary coffee. Instead, drink black coffee, which I also have here. I'm not going to open the lid right now, but it is black coffee in here, I promise. And or at least heavy whipping cream is also another good thing for coffee, but that's besides the point. Start here by drinking water, eating healthy, by consuming things that will not destroy your health. This is the Kirkland purified water.
We're not
so
sponsored by
whatever.
Kirkland, but
No, we're not. I'm just saying what kind of water
just
I have.
use it.
If possible, get a reverse osmosis thing for your house. That's another pro tip if you want to have cleaner water. Guys, start from the beginning. Start with the small things by making small changes into your nutrition that can help you become healthier as a whole, and then stop giving these corporations money and in return making America a worse country. So, guys, if you have any comments, let us know in the comment section below. What do you guys think about the subject? And make sure you smash the like button. Guys, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you've not already subscribed. And we're going to see you guys in the next video.